All right, well, welcome to February 2024 Care Coordinator Info Share. We're so glad you're here. We have lots more people coming as I see them kind of popping in. So thank you, Kara, for admitting folks as they come in. What are we talking about today? Well, some different things have been happening. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so you can see it a little bit closer. Kat is out today. Please know she is okay. She just isn't here. So if you are expecting a response from her today, she'll get back to you when she comes back. If you have a situation where you really need support, you can always send it over to us at the training team or reach out and we'll help you out. But just want to make sure you know that Kat's fine. She's not here today, and that's okay. But she did help set up this agenda based on some of the information that has been going on. So the big one, as I scroll up to the top, is the new Harmony role, the Harmony Data Entry Assistant. Kat worked with many of you to kind of workshop this idea, and then it's taken some time to develop it and implement it. And we created a video that you can see. If you subscribe to our video, you can grab it that way, or I believe she emailed you all just with basic information about it. And so we wanted to give you all a moment to, if you wanted to ask any questions about the new Harmony Data Entry Assistant role, that you can drop those questions into the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask them. I can just give you the most important thing to know about this new role is that it's not a care coordination role. You're not a care coordinator with this role. You may be able to see into Harmony like a care coordinator, but all of the work that a data entry assistant puts in is a reflection upon the care coordinator. So it is still a care coordinator's role to oversee the quality of the content entered, to make sure that you're following all of the requirements for contacts, for tracking, for monitoring delivery of services, for submitting your CIRs. All of that stays the same. This is really just a role that allows for a administrative assistant position to do that technical data entry in Harmony. So that flyer, I do have it and I can pull it up, but I see we have a question. So Abby's asked, how long is it taking for a data entry assistant to get access once the training and form is complete? I believe it's only taking a couple of days once you've completed that process. As far as, remember, you have to do all of the steps that you would for a volunteer in your agency, such as going through the background check system. And your agency does need to have workers' compensation if you're going to be having a professional assistant help you with that entry. But if you have all those pieces in play and your person's completed the access coordination individual user form, they've done their form, they've turned it into Harmony Help, they've completed the Intro to Harmony training, they then get provisioned pretty quickly. It's a very quick process. So usually 2 business days or less. Any other questions? I can go ahead and pull up our handout on this. So this would be the document that Kat sent you about a Harmony Data Entry Assistant. So please check your email from her if you want to kind of get more in depth on what the role can be used for, like what that person can do, and then the limitations. I think one of the biggest limitations that's important to clarify first is that SDS won't contact the data entry assistant. The data entry assistant may type something into Harmony, but STS won't contact them. They're going to contact the care coordinator on record. So that's something to really keep in mind when you have that role, that it's not a back and forth with that person, it's to the care coordinator. And the other big one that I think is important to kind of acknowledge is that this role could be used to support training to become a care coordinator, but it may not meet all of the experience requirements, because one of the big elements of experience for being a care coordinator is working within the field of human services, having that direct service, like working with people. And this role, in and of itself, isn't really designed for that, right? Because it's not care coordinating, it's not case management, it is really data tracking. So that's a pretty critical distinction that our PCC team, our provider compliance and certification team, wanted to make sure that everybody understood. So any thoughts, questions, concerns, or ideas about this new role? No, I do know that we did have one established HDA come in, and I have already had to do some technical service, technical work, not for the person, but for what they can see. So I just want to tell you that this is a learning curve. We're going to learn together on how this role works. If something happens in Harmony and you're not sure what's going on, please reach out. If you're like, I don't think my person's seeing what they need to see, like, I don't know what's going on with it, just reach out to us, because we need to know if it's not working for you, if we can make any adjustments to this role, how could we do that? That's something that we can only do if you let us know. Okay, so thank you for those of you who are reaching out when you are getting that person onboarded and kind of exploring it a little bit. With that in mind, we didn't put it on here, but we do have a new Harmony orientation training in the Learning Academy that you can take, as it's for all user types, and it's pretty darn basic. Like, it's really about those nuts and bolts of Harmony, of roles and notes and searching. So that may be a great start for an HDA after they do the intro to Harmony, to set them up to take that orientation training so that they can get the lay of the land of the language we refer to in Harmony and its own jargon. So with that in mind, guys seem like you're excited about this role. Again, reach out if you have questions about it. And if you, your HDA can come to care coordination support office hours as well if they need technical assistance. You guys are all welcome to that. So that's an option for you. So I am going to drop the video into the chat just for you all in case you want to get the deep dive of all of that information in video form. So that is for you. The next thing that we have coming up, special topic, is regarding applications. We have received feedback from our application intake team that we are receiving applications that are for multiple programs in OneNote, and that doesn't work. Just like inquiries where we need to have two separate inquiries to open two separate programs, we need two separate applications for when we're applying for two programs. Best example is like ALI and CFC. We need both of those applications separated out into two separate notes. Why? Because they go down different tracks in Harmony, and they need to go through those ways to be able to get to the right people and get reviewed appropriately. So please make sure that when you're submitting your applications, you separate CFC out, file it as its own waiver application, just like you would file a separate for IDD. You want to just keep them separated. So I see a question in the chat. Where do we find the CFC training? I was looking all over the training site and didn't see any CFC care coordination trainings on amendments. We do have a CFC training in the training academy. It's called Exploring CFC. It may be that when you were looking for it, sometimes the way that the training stack in there depends on your view. It may just be a little bit awkward to find. You can always search for courses by topic. And I don't know if one of my trainers can queue up the academy to be able to demonstrate that. That might be really helpful once we get through our agenda to kind of circle in and look for it. If one of you two could do that, that would be great. Kara or Cassandra. So the agenda available, we can send that out to you after we're done with our session today. And when you get your CEH email, we'll send you the agenda with all of these links that you can then jump into. So Kara, do you want to talk about the about HIPAA and HIPAA reminders? Just about best practices?
Sure. Did you want to have me talk about just HIPAA basics, just the idea of HIPAA, the least amount of information to do the work and things like that?
Yeah. It sounds like we're having a little bit of issue hearing you. I can't quite hear you either, so
I
Okay,
can't either.
better.
much
Yes.
better. Yes. So the context of this HIPAA situation, because all right, everything always comes up because something happened, right? So what happened? In this case, we were working in a situation where we were referencing something that happened to a lot of people, specifically, I'm forgetting the Cash Opa Guardian
Oh, okay.
situation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So in referencing what was going on to the case, a care coordinator connected a list of all of the clients that were served in that communication. That's problematic because that client's record is now then containing other people's HIPAA information.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kara, could you talk to us about like what could you do in those situations where your person is in like a list of people and
Mm-hmm.
you want to share that list? What would be something you could do to source the list, but
Mm-hmm.
not disclose the other people's information in that document?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Everybody's name would be PHI, Protected Health Information, which is pretty much everything, all data about the people we serve, because they come to us through an entitlement program, which is Medicaid, which is based on income and disability. So those are inferences that you can make just by knowing a person's name, um, or initials, or any of their other data. So the easiest way to understand it is that it's everything. You don't want to share. We get that sometimes we see that folks upload documents to Harmony and it's somebody else's info and things like that. Or you just want to get the message to us that something has happened and it has other people's info within it. It's okay to redact it, to really carefully look at what it is that you're sending and take out the information. You can send it to us over DSM. That's an encrypted mail system. If you see something and have concerns about HIPAA in Harmony, we do have a DSM email address that you can send those concerns to. You can also use the Harmony ID number. We're accepting that as a compliant identifier, if you will, instead of the person's name or any of the other info. So you can send a Harmony ID number just by regular email. Those are some things that you can do to be proactive and avoid sharing PHI inadvertently. Just double check your uploads to Harmony. Make sure there isn't other people's information in it. And if you do see that, you can report it to us. You can use, if you're not sending on DSM, you can send us a regular email at sdstraining@alaska.gov and just use the Harmony ID number that's in question. Um, and yeah.
Okay, so to sum it up, because there was a little bit of an ask of like, can you give me more specifics? Because it's a little too vague to get context. The context here is that you're working with a list, a case list of somehow you have a list of many consumers, many Alaskans, names all on one list, and you're trying to attach that list in Harmony to show SDS something. It could be, you know, a variety of things, why you would be submitting a list to show something. But if you're putting it into an individual's consumer record, then all of the other individuals' private health information should be redacted. We wouldn't want to share, even though we're trying to demonstrate something, we're trying to show, hey, they're on this list or they're on my case record, and they shouldn't be, and you're putting something into Harmony, into somebody's file, then you don't want to have other people's information tangled into their file. So kind of thinking about what information is relevant to the person's file when you're turning it in. Okay, well, thank you for the clarifying questions. It's a tricky one because you're just going to have a situation where that happens some point in time. You're going to have like this odd, it's an odd HIPAA situation, I guess is the best way to put it. So just keep in mind, we're trying to keep everyone's records separate from each other. So Geneva Woods, what's going on with that, Kara? Do you want to speak to that a little bit as far as where
Mhm.
we are?
I can. I don't have anything extra to share other than Geneva Woods. We've gotten a report that they're going out of business, and to date, I don't have any. We're aware of it, and we're our leadership is aware of it too, and we're trying to get more information if possible, if there would be any alternatives to people choosing people who are already served by Geneva Woods. I don't think Geneva Woods has sent out any information to people who are current customers with them. But there are some providers that do med packs, which is the bubble pack for assisted living homes. Other providers that do that, other pharmacy providers, and we did get a lot of questions about that, specifically the bubble packs for assisted living. And some folks are kind of voicing those questions as we that folks are required to have bubble packs if they live in an assisted living home. So we know that bubble packs are probably a safer alternative for homes because of the fact the staff, just peels the medication off of the package, or they just open the bubble and give it to the person, or help the person access the med. Um, but they're not required in regulation for assisted living homes. So it could be that a home is requiring that a person has their medication put in the bubble pack, or it could be some other kind of custom directive to that home that's required, but it is not required in regulation. So it's just a detail, to know about. I'm going to check our comments here. Most MedSet providers are full in Anchorage. They didn't notify their clients they are ending. Yeah. Um, it's an ongoing developing situation. So as soon as we get more information, we'll be able to give information out. I probably the best idea is for the person or their legal rep or family, whoever's helping them with their meds, should try to find a different pharmacy. If they need the MedSet, the bubble packs, then I know Kat had a short list of bubble pack, providers that will do bubble pack. Unfortunately, I don't have access to it right now at the moment. but we might be able to share that. And it could be that they're not accepting, more clients that need the bubble pack. That's what I have. Did I miss anything, Delight, that we
I
were
think
talking
that's
about
it. I
before?
think the big thing to note is that SDS doesn't have a requirement for bubble packs. Like
Mhm.
that isn't a regulatory requirement from our piece of this process. And if you're hearing that, that isn't accurate. We are looking to try to find alternative resources so that people have choices, and that's what Kat's working on. So please expect that the story will continue to go forward from there. So are there any questions? I appreciate the chat. And Denise dropped a couple of options in there. If you have any questions or thoughts that you want to bring up here, you're welcome to do that at this time, this spot. But if we're feeling okay, we can move forward to talk about full lives. So what's going on with full lives this year? Well, one, location change. This is a big one for many of us because we've only ever had full lives, at least as far as the SDS combination at the Captain Cook, and we're changing locations this year to the Sheraton, so that's a different location. What's the next big thing? There will not be a virtual option this year. It is going to be an in-person only. It was cost prohibitive, or it was like, just to say it plain, it was too expensive for us to do the videography and have a full conference. It just wouldn't connect well. So we have shifted to supporting an in-person experience. We are ramping up the process for getting this conference ready. So that means that we're in our call for proposal stage where we are asking for individuals interested in presenting at Full Lives to submit a proposal by Wednesday, February 21st, 5 p.m. And you can do a 60-minute or 90-minute presentation. And the theme this year is Inclusion Lives Here. So that's one piece that's ramping up. We have, and so we want to encourage you as our care coordinators, if you have something that you wish to share that you think would be really helpful to care coordinators, direct support professionals, agency administrators, and of course our Alaskans with lived experience, they're all attending this conference, please submit your proposal. The next big thing about that is that there are training access funds, so that AKA also known as travel money. So if you'd like to attend, but traveling is cost prohibitive, please apply for travel access funds. The application is due February 28th. So we really encourage those of you that are in remote rural locations where it is quite challenging to get to Anchorage. Please consider applying so that you can attend the conference in April. And then I think one of the best things that happen at Full Lives is award nominations for our outstanding healthcare professionals, both direct service professionals and care coordinators within different realms of behavioral health, recreation, and forgive me if I can't remember all the different themes. Maybe Kara or Cassandra can help me up. But there are several different categories. I believe there are 6 different categories to nominate a direct service professional. So I really recommend that you take a moment, and if there's someone that stands out to you as being phenomenal at what they do, please consider nominating them. We really do want to recognize the people within our community that make this process, a meaningful and really or an asset to our community, and we want to honor those folks. So please consider putting in an award nomination. And then, Kara, did you want to speak to the dynamics of renewal certification for Full Lives?
Sure. We definitely will have a renewal certification training option available for care coordinators to pursue through attending Full Lives. The travel funds are available for a care coordinator to attend Full Lives if you're in need of that. Um, the we have built it like that before. So before we even had even ever had a virtual option, they were all in person. So what we'll do is we'll get a list. We'll get people to sign up for it like we did before last couple times, and then throwing it way back to when we used to do in person. We're back to that. So we'll get a list of people by having you register for Full Lives renewal certification training, and we'll have you attend the conference, and then we'll build an engagement in our learning management system in our training academy around the content that's in the Full Lives. And you'll just engage with that and do some writing and some different interactive activities in the LMS, and then you'll get your certificate. So we did get a lot of confusion around certificates because Full Lives is presented by Center for Human Development. It's important to know that because we support them as a sponsor, but it's not presented solely by SDS. So what they'll do is they'll give a certificate for attending the conference itself, but in order to get a training certificate, you need to sign up with us, go to the conference, and complete the interactions that we'll build for you in our LMS. Then you'll get a training certificate. So they're not going to be the same thing. It's pretty standard that they'll give a certificate of attendance to the conference, but that's not the same as training. So two different things. You'll get attendance one from, the conference, the ones that are putting on the conference, and you'll get another one from us if you're doing training with us for that. Let's see, questions. How can you nominate? Thanks for sharing the link to nominate. And yes, there are a few different categories. DSP, working with supporting people with intellectual developmental disability. There's behavioral health support staff. There's care coordination. There's elder support staff. And there's probably TBI support staff too. That's I think 5. I think. But yeah, so I would highly suggest you nominate if you know a great direct service worker or another great care coordinator. Go for it and nominate. Questions about discounts of lodging and things like that. That is probably best directed towards CHD and application for the travel funds. How are the awardees to be recognized? Is there a luncheon? It will be in the conference before a keynote speaker. We're still developing a lot of this, so we don't have
they're speaking about a
set
breakfast
answers
at this time.
Okay, cool. All right, there's your categories. So you can read them in the Spirit of Full Lives Lifetime Achievement Award, and ADRD, dementia care, substance misuse worker. Okay, and the others I think I got. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Well,
First year. It says first year for care coordinator standalone.
Awesome. It is the first year. That is true. So that's exciting and well deserved. So
yeah.
Just saying, you guys deserve your own category. So What's up next? Well, those were the topics that we knew we needed to touch base with you on, just given the dynamics and the feedback we've had and a lot of the communications that Kat has received. So the next piece that we have for you all is basic reminders, really to kind of give you those tools again of just our family info share that we have quarterly that covers eligibility, our all providers info share, which is the third Tuesday of the month. Not the same as the care coordinator info share, but they do overlap. Like we will be talking about those applications at that session too, because PCS administrators file applications. So, there are certain things that are carried over into provider info share, and some of them are new. Additional resources that we want to just make sure that we remind you of, again, as we have our support hours, we have for care coordinators, which you can bring your data entry assistant to at any time. So those are Thursdays at 8 to 9 a.m. Our provider office hour from 3 to 4 on Thursdays. And then we're now starting family office hours every other Monday from noon to 1. And that's really with the goal of helping families that need additional clarification or just need access to the state of Alaska and just want to talk to them, you're welcome to bring families to that session. You could bring families to your care coordination office hour too, that's fine. But we feel that it's important for us to start bridging that connection to individuals that are served as well. So we're starting those office hours. You're aware of the YouTube channel. We'll be posting this video to that later. We have the policy YouTube channel, which is where most of our stakeholder engagement occurs. And then we have our training academy. So with that, we do have the Training Academy queued up. If you would like a little bit of a demonstration on how to search for a course or a course topic, we could do that for you. But before I switch it up and move in that direction, are there any questions or concerns before we head there?
Do you have it ready, Delight? I have mine.
Yeah, if you
Whichever.
or Cassandra sent me a message saying she was ready. So
Okay,
if
go for
either
it,
of you
Cassandra.
are ready, I'm going to stop my share and you can share your screen and we'll go there. All right, Cassandra, could you go up to the far, and I always have to look at my hands when I'm trying to do this, the far right corner where there's two little squares, there's top right next to the left the X. Could you? Oh, it didn't do much. I was hoping you could pull it over to the side so we could get a little bit better view of the screen. Maybe if you navigate, just pulling it to the side. So what you end up usually seeing is this dashboard, which holds your place in any courses that you might be taking. So you can see Cassandra has a recently accessed course on that, where you see there's a child's face in that little graphic there. But you can always search for courses if you go to the left side and click on Site Home. How about, Cassandra, you click on there you go. You want to go to Site Home. And then you can see there's just a super long list. Scroll the way to the bottom. You don't have to go slow, do a slow roll. Just go quick all the way down to the bottom. So what am I taking you to? The search feature. That is really sometimes the best way to get what you're looking for. So if you click on, and I'm sorry, I didn't see what you clicked on, Cassandra.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
Because there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can click on the all courses and I'll take you to the themes, like the categories that you just saw, but you can also just type into that search course up there. So you could, where it says search courses and there's a magnifying glass, you could type in Harmony and everything that has Harmony in it is gonna pull up.
Sorry, my spelling.
You're all good. Let's see what it does. Let's see. So it pulled up 4 different classes. One of these I can see is Cassandra has a different view because she's a trainer. So some of these you may not see. But if you keep scrolling down, you can see that we have an inquiries class. We have that orientation class we were talking about earlier. There's the intro harmony class, which your new HDEA is going to need to take before getting in there. And those are the classes that you could find if you typed in harmony. Kara, what's one of the trainings that you have been working on or that's new that you can think of that we could search? I saw that we were looking for TEFRA training. I'm not sure we have one of those put in there right now.
We have there's a CEH in there about TEFRA. You could just use one F. And it's TEFRA. There's a CEH in there where experienced care coordinators with TEFRA are sharing, it's a recording, are sharing what they know. Families in TEFRA, 1 hour care coordinator CEH.
So is this like optimal when you're in the situation of like, I don't know what I need to know, which happens to many of us, right? Like, I don't know what class I'm looking for. You can go through and instead of going through it case by like categories, when you can click on all classes and you'll see a full list. You can also email us and let us know your learning needs and we can match you to a class. Some of these classes may need to be, you may need to be enrolled in. So you're always welcome to contact us if you're looking to meet a specific learning need, like you're trying to find out information like about CFC, and I can get you connected to the right class. So with that, is there anything else that folks have questions about? Concerns that you guys want to make sure that training and we'll make sure Kat gets the message? Anything that you feel it's important to touch base on? Well, there is. Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. A training on how to apply for acuity. That is a great question because we're in sort of an awkward situation with acuity. I'll just say it plain, it's a little awkward. We have different tools and resources for acuity opening up under Appendix K, and we are building new acuity resources as well through regulatory development. This makes it kind of confusing on how to apply for acuity right now. So I think Kat mentioned that she heard that this was a need. So we are going to take that back to teams and try to come up with a plain language breakdown of what's needed today. How can we request it now? Because if you're requesting acuity, it means that you need to request it right now. Acuity is not one that you gradually approach. It's a very it's a high need and you need it quickly. So yes, let's take a look at that. And we are going to be, I would like to target that we could have that for you next month, but I can't promise it. We'll just have to, but we understand it's a need. And we may just have to do it as a handout for now, but we'll find out and try to get you resources because we understand that it's confusing. I am getting confused at some of these different angles that we have going on and how to approach them. So, okay. So similar would be helpful for skilled nursing services. That would be an excellent one. Sometimes, especially in our NFLOC side, they kind of pair together, right? So that's a really excellent idea. So for acuity, are you able to tell us about the daily or 8-hour breakouts? You know, I can speak to this because you can request it right now in Harmony. So yes, I can talk about it a little bit. The standard or like the level of supports for requesting acuity has not changed at this time. So when requesting acuity, we keep in mind that this is a very restrictive service because it is one-to-one, constant within arm reach supervision of a person. And that is restrictive. So the litmus test to meet that level of support requires establishing significant it requires a lot of documentation of all the efforts that the home has currently attempted to do, like their actions, their service notes, their notes of what actions they're taking. And so there's service notes and there is a care calendar component. So that stays the same. If you've applied for acuity before, those components are the same. What has changed? We've changed the unit breakout so that it can be requested in 8, 16, or 24-hour blocks. It is been broken into that shift pattern because SDS received feedback that that was more along the a more common way for homes to staff acuity was in those 8-hour shifts. It does allow for those unique situations where, oh no, they're not necessarily unique, but those circumstances where maybe someone does sleep through the night and they don't really need acuity while they're sleeping, or there are certain circumstances where they may only need 8 hours of acuity, but to request any amount of acuity, 8, 16, or 24, the criteria stays the same of there's a heightened need for safety and to prevent institutionalization. So when we think about requesting and we have a situation where maybe 8 hours would be a really huge support to the person, you're still going to have to document that level of support, but you'll also have to explain why you don't need the other 16 hours. So what about that 8 hours requires one-to-one constant supervision that's different than the other 16 hours a day? That's pretty significant, and SDS would want to understand because that's a big departure in requests. So thinking about that application. So will a client who receives 8 hours of acuity be eligible for one-on-one day hab? You know, there isn't anything that precludes it at that time, but I appreciate because the regulations haven't fully, like, we don't have a lot of regulatory support for that right now. What I would say is that if the agency is comfortable in providing HAB and you have a solid plan, it's something that you can talk to as a team and come to SDS with that scenario. The goal right now, honestly, is we're trying to learn. We're trying to adjust acuities and we're trying to change how things are happening. So if you have a case where, yes, we have situations where there's acuity, like we need it for certain time frames, we'd like to use other services as well, please reach out to us and talk with us about your specific case. We can talk about it very case specific. I don't want to rule anything off the table right now because we really are trying to learn about what our Alaskans' needs are and how better to support them. So if you're looking at, partial acuity, things like that, I would ask that you chat with us a little bit more so we can gauge what resources we have for you to explore those. So question, so if someone is requesting acuity now, do we tell them to wait or start doing a 30-day log? If you're at that process where you are seeing that acuity will be needed, start the log. Start it as soon as possible. In fact, the moment that the conversation of acuity comes up where people start thinking like maybe we need to consider acuity, start logging and start really connecting with the agency and really emphasizing that 24-hour care calendar. And that's separate from their service notes, which can be complicated, right? So, because agencies don't always understand the distinction. It's like, well, we have all the service notes. We gave those to you. That should be good enough. But you also have the care calendar, which requires the individual that delivered the service to initial it. So that would be my suggestion to you. If acuity is on the table and you're thinking about it, start logging it, start exploring it, because you have to substantiate all that you have done to avoid it, because it is restrictive. It violates people's privacy rights. Okay. And we can put together more on acuity to better explore it. Is there an acuity log and instructions on the website? There is. If you give me a moment, let me see, or if Kara, if you have it up, feel free to share.
Working on it.
Awesome, thank you. We do have a care calendar instructional form. There was a form that was rather dated that you may have in your files somewhere. Please disregard it and use the care calendar that's established on our forms page. It has really clear instructions of what the expectation is. And it's really intended to give you really the ins and outs on what we're looking for to be able to understand where the person is. So the new 24-hour care calendar doesn't allow format changing. Okay. Thank you for giving us that feedback. We can connect with our policy team about the formatting. If possible, could you please email the SES training team with, actually, if you could DSM me that information, I can take it to the policy team, give me an example, and we can work on kind of troubleshooting on what's going on with it. In a pinch, you can always just print it out and follow it as best as you can, or come up with a different way to document it within compliance. It's not technically like a uni form, one of our universal forms. It's really to structure this documentation process. So if you're having a really hard time with the form, please let us know. The biggest piece here is I would take a look at the instructions and examples. And Kara, if you want to open it up, that will be really helpful. So that if you've never looked at this, if you've never had to look at this document package, we want to put it on your radar. So this is the form that a family or a home would use to start documenting the actions that are taken during the course of a day that are needed to support the person in their safety and of themselves, others, and property, or are critical to prevent institutionalization. So you would give context to what happened and how were they supported, what was offered to redirect, what was offered to intervene, what was offered to de-escalate, giving context to the situation of like what happened and what did the supports around the person do that would indicate that that one-to-one really is important during the course of someone's day. So if you scroll down to the next page, you can take a look at, oh, is this the instructions? Oh, you pulled the form. Got it.
And then I can get the instructions.
Okay. My chat jumped around. Give me a second. Oh, it won't allow you to add pages. Got it. I can understand how that will be a problem. So maybe it would help to have a couple extra pages on this form. Maybe that could assist. So to clarify, requesting 8, 16, or 24-hour chunks, or is it being developed in regulation? It's okay. It's okay to ask this because it is really confusing. What does it mean right now for you in Harmony? When you go into Harmony and you do a plan service for acuity and you're like, let's just take away all of like, do you need 8 or 24? Just let all of that go. We've talked about that. Let's just talk about what has to happen in Harmony. You're going to have to add your original base service. Supported living? Is it group home? What's the original base service? You're going to have that in the system. Then you're going to add a separate acuity. So it's acuity add-on, which you can pull from plan services. Having that add-on, that's where you calculate your units. So you have your original service and then the service, the acuity add-on, where you can stack your units, right? So if you're doing 24 hours, you're going to have to think like, okay, one day, 24 hours is 3 units. Clear as mud? I'm sure. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to jest. I'm just trying to say that I can get how this would be incredibly complicated. So if you are in acuity hell, as we have in chat, please come to office hours. Please reach out with your case because we don't want you to be stuck in a hard place because your Alaskan needs help. So when did we notify people of this acuity unit change? It actually happened in Lynn Kyleman Cruz did a updates on residential services and presented it at that time. And our chief of quality connected to every single agency that was currently delivering acuity and explained to them that the billing change. So that happened in December. It is referenced in a video on the policy channel. We can provide you with that video link. I think that but what I'm hearing is that you need a paper document, like something to read about this that breaks down what is happening right now. How do you ask for acuity right now? Is that accurate? Like you need it right now? Yes. So, because I understand that we're really in this kind of odd scenario where we have things that are changing, things are coming, and it's getting a little mixed up with what is available and happening right now. So we can take that to Teams. I think it's important for you guys to have that because if you're talking acuity, it's a big deal. Yeah, when the Harmony piece right now, so if you're renewing Acuity, keep with all of the paper requirements, the documentation requirements, keep up all with that. What you'll have to do is go into your plan services and make sure that the units are calculated out, that those 3 units per day are calculated. You don't have to make an amendment to your current plan. No. No need to change anything right now. The provider was contacted and they are going to bill according to that change, okay? Because it was already authorized for the amount. The unit that was authorized already happened. You're not changing that. It's just for future requests, for renewals, for initials, those 3-hour or 3 segments, that like those 3 shifts would be how you would document it in Harmony. Yes, December 6th webinar on Acuity changes. Okay. We are almost at time. As always, we're so thankful to you for all the work that you do, for your conversation, for your thoughts. We really are in it together. And we're really here to help you sort it out as best as we can. We are going to bring your questions about Acuity to the teams and see if we can come up with a resource for you so that you have some direction for what's going on today. All right, Jan's working on connecting with the Sheraton. Okay, and so we'll also take our questions about hotel rates and stuff like that back to our Full Lives Planning Committee so that we can get the details for you. It we want to make sure that you can get a discount so that you can stay at the hotel. Anything else, Kara?
Might be a work in progress with them because it's not until April. You know, the hotel itself may not know. You know, it's just a lot of different people working on that. So we'll do our best to get info out as soon as everything gets decided. And of course, as always, we'll put this meeting on recorded onto our YouTube channel. And we'll send you an email stating to keep this email. It's worth 1 hour CEH, and we'll have attachments to it with the agenda and the Harmony Data Entry Assistant document that tells you how to request that for somebody who you're working with.
I have to jump in. I know I was like kind of like done, but Stephanie dropped in there. Lend. And you guys, Lend is it's leadership education for
Neurodevelopmental.
neurodevelopmental and disability. And it is an amazing experience. It's a fellowship experience where you have to apply. It's through the University of Alaska, graduate coursework. Stephanie and I are both in Lend right now. And let me tell you, it is rigorous. Kara's a former Lend fellow. It really connects you to the interdisciplinary field within Alaska. Our clinicians, our speech therapists, our OT specialists, our care coordinators, our public health administrators, and most importantly, our self-advocates. So we highly encourage you to explore Lend and check out the opportunity to apply for it. I cannot speak highly of it enough. Stephanie or any other Lend fellows in here, if you want to shout it out, please do. Highly encourage all of you to consider taking it on. It is a lot of work though, so please consider your family, life, work balance. And if you have the bandwidth for that, because it is a 300-hour, you can expect to spend at least 300 hours in 2 semesters on learning about being a leader in our field. Well, we're at time. So with that, we'll go ahead and call it for today. If you have questions, please reach out. We're here for you guys.